Welcome to Healing Depression. In this episode, we talk about facing our fears. So, fears are a kind of emotions that uh, are usually feeling uncomfortable inside the body and then create kind of chain of thoughts that block us to do things. And even if we are not experiencing the reality, with fears we are uncomfortable. So there is this famous story of Machiavelli, so called the father of science, political science in academic world, that says you rule the people either by love or fear. You rather go with fear because love is not very predictable. So today, if you are hearing a lot of noise in the background of cars, maybe it's because today we are sleeping outdoor near some street, and this is where it's recorded because many of us during depression, anxiety, and having this financial instability that we may face, or at least the fear of going through financial instability, we experience this anxiety about homelessness. So we see people sleeping in the street, and we are fearful that one day we're gonna be experiencing and we're gonna be in the shoes of people who don't have a house. So when it comes to fear, psychologists and psychology science often talk about fear exposure. So what is a fear exposure is to gently and gradually be exposed to the fearful situation. And as a part of this practice, I'm doing this in in a, near one of the squares of this town. So I'm sleeping outdoor under a roof I found after looking around. And yeah, uh, fears are also blocking us in so many ways. And to go beyond the fears means stretching the limits, not only in reality, but also, probably more importantly, in the mind and imagination. Because much, much of the day we are indeed daydreaming. Apparently is a process in our life, in our mind, that is projecting us in different situations in the future. And fears are appearing not only there, but also they create chemical reactions and chemical substance in our body. So you can feel fear probably in your beyond your behind your your hands on your shoulder, and sometimes back of your head, or everyone probably has some experience with body sensation. So we can observe it and see how facing fear and gradually having the fear and blockage, because fears are blockage at the end, many of them don't exist. For example, I've been having fear of deep water, and it comes from, for example, the childhood and me not being exposed to deep water, which might be actually coming from my mother, my mother's fear that never let me go to swimming pool with other people, and also didn't allow me to explore water, always warning me that it's dangerous, and many stories of people who who died in sea or swimming pool. So still it's there with me. But gradually that I've been exposed to water, I find myself indeed many times in situations that there is no danger. The water is maybe 1 meter, 1 meter and a half, but I don't notice, and I'm having a psychological drama in my mind because I feel I'm going to drown. And then when I touch the ground, it's only 1 meter. So it's not only in the reality that I get heart rate, high heart rate when I'm near the water, especially if there is a deep area, but also it blocks a lot of things in my imagination and planning because water is excluded, while the water, sea, and ocean is a big part of our life experience. So, by opening up to this fear, through learning and having exposure, gradually this blockage is softened, and the limits of the reality and the limits of mind and thoughts and imagination is going to grow. It's the same with homelessness. Probably we don't need to be a total homeless before experiencing sleeping outside. And then what is homeless? If the universe is all one place, if the universe is fundamentally our home, what does it mean being homeless? So, homeless becomes also a mental fear and mental, at least, word. So unless we come and experience it side by side with other people that are already experiencing it, maybe things also change, not in terms of the emotion we experience while having the thoughts and anxiety of being a homeless, meaning having not a fixed shelter, but also it may open up the possibility of making risks in future if we don't do things, we don't go for new ideas. If one of the blockages and one of the fears we have is losing the shelter, and being also exposed to this situation, we learn that there are numerous options of sleeping in the town, and what we actually need in terms of shelter. What is the minimum shelter that provides us peace, possibilities, and joy, and so many other parameters. If we don't experience it, how we can know in details?